Hi, my name is Elizabeth Hobbs, and I'm at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. I'm going to talk about ECO-CollecTF, a flexible corpus of evidence-based assertions. When a researcher wants to analyze the results of a high-throughput experiment, he or she frequently relies upon standardized information, or annotations, extracted by expert curators from biomedical journal articles. Compiling this standardized information is a monumental task, given the volume of articles published. And curators often rely upon text mining systems to prioritize and enhance curation when they are creating annotations. In turn, most text mining systems rely on gold standard corpora for their development and tuning. In addition, it's important to identify the technique, that is, the evidence, used by manuscript authors to make their claims. Thus, it is important for curators to not only capture what assertions an author is making, such as that a binding site is in a promoter, for example, but to also capture the evidence supporting the assertion. Although many corpora have been developed, currently none contain annotations of evidence based on the full range of the extensive set of evidence concepts in the evidence and conclusion ontology. Here, we present the ECO-CollecTF corpus, a novel, freely available corpus of 54 unique documents, each annotated by 3 curators, for a total of 162 annotated documents. The corpus contains 1,811 high-quality annotations of evidence-based statements, with 121 eco-terms being represented. We performed a preliminary review to define and scope our curation effort and develop guidelines to streamline and focus the annotation process, and to enable the undergraduate curators to work most effectively. We focused on articles about bacterial transcription factor binding regulation, and we determined that the evidence must be clearly stated and used to support the claim or assertion. The evidence and assertion must be in a single sentence or 2 consecutive sentences to make the task of annotation most efficient. We also focused on annotating statements about entities in only 6 categories: molecular functions, biological processes, cellular locations, sequence features, phenotypes, and taxonomy phylogeny. We also captured our confidence in how well a word or phrase in an article mapped to an eco-evidence concept, as well as our evaluation of the strength of the author's claim, whether he or she used, for example, the word suggests as a medium strength assertion, or the lower, for example, might suggest phrase. We computed how well our curators' annotations matched each other by using the inter-annotator agreement measure Cohen's kappa, which is a measure between 2 annotators that takes into account each curator's bias in the agreement calculation. In this equation, A0 is the observed agreement between the 2 curators, and AE is the expected agreement based on the curator biases. We calculated the average of the pairwise measures, which gave us an overall IAA score of 0.68, a value in line with other curation efforts of the complexity of our task. Here is some additional information about the corpus. As you can see, we do not have an even distribution of eco-terms, but rather a high occurrence of terms relevant for bacterial transcription factor binding papers, such as ECO96, which is EMSA. In addition, we did not have an even distribution of confidence values or assertion strengths. We had more occurrences where we had a high confidence that terms were represented by their eco concept, and where authors made assertions with high or medium strength. Here are some examples of evidence-based assertions. The second one, for example, is by qRT-PCR assays, which is the evidence, we found, which is an indicator word that an assertion is coming, that MAF-R has a positive effect on the transcription of OG1RF11486. And that is the assertion, which happens to be, in this case, in the category of biological process. One use for our corpus is in identifying real-world sentences that exemplify ECO concepts and that assist curators and users of ECO in contextualizing terms. Here is an example that was added to the ECO concept number 96, EMSA. This one has two sentences. The first sentence has the evidence, the second has the assertion. Each of the promoter proximal regions of QRR24 was subjected to EMSA, that's the evidence, with a purified His-OPA-R protein. The results showed that His-OPA-R was able to bind, that's the assertion of a molecular function, to each of the 3 DNA fragments tested in a dose-dependent manner in vitro. Finally, we developed our corpus following the FAIR principles of findability, accessibility, interoperability, and reusability. The corpus is open access, available in 2 standard formats. It's available from the ECO website or via Zenodo, which supports accessibility, interoperability, and findability. The annotations are self-contained at the sentence level and are not aggregates. This enables reproducing the IAA calculation and supports the ability to subset the corpus as needed, which enhances its reusability for different purposes. Thank you.